to my next point, my team Orient were just eliminated due to them being honest about their testing and stuff like that, which I think's complete rubbish. But, I'm a bit worried about how the Orient players are going to bounce back now because, for a lot of them, it's a very big game. And it was probably one of the biggest games they're going to play in, which then leads me on to my next question. And we'll start with Anise. Have you ever had an opportunity where you've, even as a footballer or as a coach or even in a walk of life, where something's happened and it's been unfairly taken away from you? And how did it make you feel and how did you bounce back from it?
Jeez, Rob, way to put me on the spot here. That wasn't in the briefing sheet, was it?
Yeah, I didn't see that in the email.
Well, proves it's not scripted, eh?
Yeah, it's hard to say, really. It's I don't really think there's. I've been very privileged, and I don't forget that. Growing up, the opportunities that I had presented to me to participate in sport, whether it's from playing, whether I was coaching, now being a chairman and running a club, I've been very, very fortunate to work alongside people that I've learned a lot from, and I still continue to learn from. So I don't think there's been many of those opportunities taken away from me as such. I think maybe I applied to a university course when I first came out of my first degree and I got rejected, and it doesn't feel great, but it actually kind of just spurs you on to go find another opportunity. But Leyton Orient don't have that in this situation. They've just been dumped out of the cup for doing the honest thing. And compare that to what happened between West Ham and Hull. Didn't Hull refuse to take the test? And what if they took the test and had loads of players test positive? Would they be dumped out the cup? So it just makes you think that some of these rules ain't in place for health reasons. They're just there in case you want to follow them, and then you get punished because of it. And it seems really unfair. All right, fans can't go to the games, but the players, what an opportunity of a lifetime to play against Spurs. And why would any club now be honest about any situation regarding coronavirus? And I think it's symptomatic of the way society has dealt with this situation in general. It's such a shame for Leyton Orient.
Fahim, I'll give you a bit more time and I'll touch on mine. I think it was actually playing under you, to be fair. And we had that semi-final.
Yeah.
Over,
we took
in
Essex.
Green.
Oh no, in Bethnal Green. I was going to say.
Yeah, this is when we was playing on the kit room, and I had a dodgy back, and we went 1-0 down, and the old excuse, my back's gone, I better come off now.
Is this the Coutinho back injury? Yeah, just for a few weeks.
Genuinely, we was 1-0 down, and my back was killing me on the sideline, and I kind of just watched us as a team. Obviously, it wasn't because of the sub, but I come off, but we just kind of deteriorated, and we didn't get to the cup final at Dagenham Redbridge. I was a bit down about that for a few days, but. I feel like the way we've all come on and come back together, that is a proper bounce back for us, to be fair.
It's a good example, Rob. You just made me think of one, actually. I was actually playing for Hamlets on a Sunday. So a lot of our CSM Sunday players played for the Saturday team. And I was captain. And I spent the whole season playing in centre midfield. To be fair, that week I'd run the London Marathon, and 5 days later we had a cup final. So my legs weren't great. But it wasn't my worst game, and for some reason I was playing alongside a centre midfielder who had been begging to play up front or in centre mid, but he'd been a centre back for the entire season. But suddenly on cup final day, I'm expected to pair up with this guy, and he wasn't great. He was not better than me in that first half of that game. I think Fahim was there, Grant was there. And the worst thing is, I told a bunch of my European mates that I was studying on my master's with to come down. So these guys have travelled in from North London, from outside of London in Kent, on a train to come to Hornchurch on a midweek night to see me get subbed at half time. I was devastated. And we lost as well. So I had to go collect bloody runners-up medals after being subbed at half time in a cup final.
Fahim, even if you want to mention a transfer or anything?
Oh, mate, I think, we look, as an agent, I think it's part and parcel. Some transfers will go through and some won't. I think probably the biggest thing that's probably affected me was probably the cancer diagnosis, which was back in 2015. But I think in all of our examples and mine as well, it was about the kind of support network you have around you and the people you have around you. Like you mentioned after that game in Bethnal Green where we lost, and then years on, we've still come back together and we're still doing things together, and that shows a strong connection, a strong bond between us. And I think when you have to deal with something, or when I had to deal with the diagnosis, I had, my wife around me, who has been, even to now, when I have to go for checkup, she's with me at every appointment. That woman has not missed an appointment with me. So that, having that kind of support mechanism really makes it much easier to bounce back. And I, like as Anise said, even in our family, in our household, is very, very tight knit. We're very close, and that support mechanism is good. And then to be able to fall back on our friends in football and yourself and everybody else involved at CSM. CSM started just after I got the all clear. We, me and Anise had this conversation driving up to Liverpool, where I was venting some frustration, and then as we hit the M1, he's like, "Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we set this up, and why don't we push this?" And really, so for me, it's that support network, the people you have around you, the people that listen to you when you want to have a whinge and a moan, and the ones that kind of just help you through that, really, and then they stand with you when you're flying high again, like we are with everything that's happening at CSM with everyone that's involved. It's been really good. So yeah, I think it shows it's just about the support network, really.
It really puts into perspective mine and Rob's examples there. We're complaining about getting subbed in semi-final and cup final, and Fahim drops the cancer bomb on us. So, but you spot on the support network. I'm living 200 miles away, trying to be a chairman of a football club. It would be impossible to do it without the 8 or 9 guys that we have on our committee working together. Things like this podcast, an opportunity to just come on and just chat football with people we like, and talk about the things that we're doing together, talk about the things that are affecting us day to day, and putting it out there on the table. I love having a chat with Rob in the week. Yeah. Sometimes it's about football, sometimes it's about his streams, it's about the pod. It gives me something to look forward to at the end of the working day, and that's so important as you go through the week.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to say as well, like for him, you've mentioned about how you've got so much support network and stuff like that. One thing I would like to mention, I'm going to put an email address in the description. It should be rob@centricsm.com. The link will definitely be in the bio. If anyone does have any concerns, you can email us. Everything you send in to us is completely anonymous. We will try and help you as much as possible. This is why we have set up this podcast called Just Talk. To be fair, I don't think I've mentioned Just Talk enough, but there will be podcasts where we do touch on this stuff a lot more when we feel we need to address it. Even, it could be stuff personally, it could be even anyone at CSM. If they're more than willing to talk about it, we will talk. And, because the reason we have set up this podcast for the public is to let people know, check on your friends. You are not alone. No matter what you do, no matter what's happening, people are just a click away. We've got the beautiful thing of an internet now. But yeah, that's we're going to wrap it up today, but I just wanted to put that in right at the end just to make sure that everyone was aware, and that's what Just Talk is all about. I'm going to put Anise's Twitter and Fahim's Twitter in the bio, and myself. Make sure you go and follow us, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. So Anise, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers,
and
much appreciated. Good to see you again, guys, and speak to you later on in the week.
Yeah,
good night. Thank you.
Cheers fellas. Bye-bye.